Hello and welcome to another podcast. This is the How to Succeed podcast. I am your host, Mike Montague, and my guest this week is Lady Redneck, also known as Stephanie Lee Lowry. She's a musician and entertainer. I would just say doing all kinds of cool things on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. We're going to talk more about how she plays for a living, and we're going to help you rediscover the power of play in your life and career. So stick around. Find more at ladyredneck.org or playfulhumans.org. Here we go. Or .com. Here we go. All right. Lady Redneck. We like to start with the joke of the week. The joke of the week this week is brought to you by Podiums. I don't normally do personal endorsements here on the podcast, but I feel like Podiums are a product I can really stand behind. There you go. Okay, let's find the official joke of the week. The official joke of the week is, what does the old pirate say on his birthday?
I don't know.
I'm 80. I'm 80. Okay. Do you have a joke for us?
I do. Okay. Why was a musician arrested?
Why was the musician arrested? I have no idea.
Because he was in trouble.
All right, good jokes for the
Hopefully you got
kids
that one.
this week. Yes, treble is good. I was trying to think of some other music puns. I don't have any, so let's just get into it.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about your music career and what you have going on these days. For people that don't know you, they can go to ladyredneck.org and check out all the social media. You have like over 40 million views of videos across the platforms and stuff. It's quite impressive. How did you get started, and what are you doing these days?
I got started with my music actually growing up in Idaho. We had a family band, and so I started the guitar and the piano when I was 6, and we just did the whole family band where you play and you're switching instruments and clogging and all that fun
Nice.
stuff. It was awesome. I absolutely loved every minute of it. And anyway, but now moving to Texas, being away from them, I started doing my own music in 2016, and so from then until now, I've just been doing my own thing. I go by Lady Redneck. I was doing country. I've recently, over the last year and a half, switched to Christian music and love that change. I still love country and still doing a little bit of it as well. And yeah, just loving every second of being able to be a mother and then be a musician and just do what I love. So life is good.
That's amazing. Well, I think it's fun when I ask people on the podcast, whether they've started out playful, and it sounds like you did, or they kind of, they go and they get an office cubicle job and then they're like, no, I'm going to go chase my music career. So I'd love to hear more about how you've built this up and into something that you can do for a career, because for me, I find it interesting. I call them kind of like middle class artists that no matter what it is, if you're a painter, a performer of any kind, or, really any kind of freelance profession, there's like the famous people, there's, the Mr. Beast, the artist you see on the Country Music Awards and all the famous people. And then there's like starving artists who don't seem to get any traction. They maybe do it for a hobby or something. But the ones I find most fascinating, and I consider myself in this category, is like that middle class where you can actually make money at this. You can have a big following and still kind of not have anybody know who you are. And you just kind of like build your own audience outside of platforms. What has that experience been like for you?
It's actually been amazing. When I started this in 2016, I just really wanted to record one of the songs that I'd written. I didn't even know if anybody'd like it. And I always had felt like music was my calling, but I hadn't done it and just on my own. And so when I started, that very first song made it on the charts and did really well. And I had people, indie radio stations, ask if they could play my music, and I thought, oh, this is great. And so it started out, really exciting. And from then on, I've always loved business and marketing, and so I just found different creative ways to market my music, different things that I could sell, crowdfunding. I actually sell a lot of CDs, a lot of merch. I sell some courses, and so it's been amazing. Just there's so many. I think if you're creative, that you can find a way to make anything work. As far as your hobby, like what you were saying, if you with the internet just makes it so that you can do your dreams, you can live your dreams, you can go for it. So it's been a
You're
great
on a lot of
experience.
different platforms. Where would you recommend somebody started today? If you were talking to maybe a high school or college age person who wanted to play music for a living, should they go for the big record deal? Should they go for building their own following on a channel, other playing local bands and just getting paid to perform? Where would you recommend they start?
Yeah. No, that is actually an amazing question. And I have a strong opinion about that. If you have a big following, then major labels are more likely to look at you because you've already proved your point. You can already sell. You already have an audience of people that love you. And so, number one, definitely start building your audience, and you can do it on social media. Just do your thing. Don't just get in there and play a song, but be creative and let them see your personality. And playing local is great. That's kind of been the weak spot for me, just being a mom. It's limited a lot of my ability to travel, and I've needed to do a tour for the last few years. And so, if you can get out there and play and have people sharing your music, the even better. But definitely just get started. Just get started. Start online
Well,
and
that's
just
what
get
I
going.
always say is I think way too many people wait for somebody to give them permission, where you just got to go and pick yourself and do it for free and start doing it. And the more you do it, the more likely somebody will be to notice you or to become a fan or to get you a paid gig. And for some of the stuff I do, like public speaking or entertaining and stuff, um, you don't really need a big following. If somebody sees you do a speech and they like it, you can make 10 grand in a day for doing a keynote speech and really not have to have any sort of, permission, big company, an agent, or any of that stuff. You
Yeah.
can and book it yourself. So getting started is great. When was the
No, I
moment
agree with
that
that. I was gonna add, I've talked to a lot of musicians because I had written some courses on helping to promote how to make money as a musician, and I couldn't believe how many musicians that I talked to who are waiting until they make so much money, or they're waiting till the song is ready, or they're waiting until whatever, and you wait and you wait and you wait, and it never happens. And so, exactly, I like it just got to get going. I liked what you said there. So
Yeah, and I like what you've done with your career. That's one of the reasons I wanted to have you on is because I've also kind of found that especially with the internet, you don't really know which one is going to go viral or the one that's going to catch
true.
on. And so you might fall in love with the song and then nobody watches the video or listens to it or come up with a really
Yeah.
cool creative idea for a YouTube video and then it gets 3 views and then something else dumb like these jokes of the week, they get thousands of views every time when I post the short and it's just a dumb joke in a short minute that I wouldn't really spend that much time on. So I think it's interesting to kind of figure out as you go along. When did you know that you feel like you had made it? You were going to be able to do this for a career? And how do you know when something's working or not?
So, as far as knowing when this was gonna work for my career, I think just even after that first song took off, and I realized that people actually may enjoy listening to my music, and that
What was the
because
name of that song?
it was "Love Me Baby." It's "Love Me Baby," and it was my first
Nice.
my first song, and I actually feel like that one was given for me from God, even though it was a country song, and it was just one of those songs where when you write it, you just know every word, you know the chord progressions, it just comes to you as fast as you can write it. And anyway, so I guess all along it's always been what I felt I was supposed to do was music, and so when that happened, I just felt like, hey, this is God just giving me the push, saying, let's do this. And so that to answer your first question, that was when that really took off. Then I thought, okay, let's do this. Let's have some fun.
And
And
do you
then
have any idea of when stuff is working or when it's not? When you've done, thousands of videos and they've, resulted in millions of views, but can you predict whether one will or not? Or do you know the ingredients of what works at this point?
yeah, and it's really interesting because some of the things, like what you said, some of the things I think are just going to explode are the ones that just plummet, and vice versa. And I love analytics. I love checking out the numbers. And so if something works really well on one of my platforms, I try to duplicate something similar, but just a little bit different. And then I try to look at what other people are doing too, and not copy them because I don't like that, but just find something that I can do that would resonate and be somewhat similar to that same thing, because I think it's important to see what is working and then kind of, just put your own spin on it. I think that's a good place to start.
Yeah. And one of the things that I find hard about what you do is keep coming up with ideas for videos or songs and new ideas. I kind of cheat in a couple of ways. Of like, one with my keynote speeches and business stuff is I give the same speech a lot, or at least the same topic. And in the game shows and podcast stuff that I do, I have new questions and new contestants every week, but I'm pretty much doing the same thing, or I have a new guest on the show every week, which makes it a new show. And there's not a lot of pressure on me. So I feel like I can keep doing these things for years and years without getting stuck. But do you ever get burnout?
It's
What
awesome.
happens when you do that? And how do you keep it fresh?
As of yet, I haven't got burned out. I think just because um I love what I do, and I'm constantly, I hope I'm constantly progressing as an artist. I think that if you listen to some of my things that I did at maybe my first CD compared to my fourth CD, and now I'm getting ready to release a Christian CD, um, you'll hopefully listen to me getting a little bit better, and just see the progression in my life too. Just as things change in my life, as I'm going through different trials, as I'm going
Hmm.
through happy times and different things in my life, music's always been there, and I just kind of use it as an outlet. So for me, I don't know that I would burn out from music as much, say, as maybe the business side of it. But as far as creating and doing what I love, it's just a way. Honestly, I don't even keep a journal. I literally just write songs. So it's part of my therapy. So
Nice. What
yeah.
about the video and social side of things? Does that give you as much energy at creating that stuff as you do the music, or is music your primary passion?
Um, Music is my primary passion, but I do love marketing and I do love business a lot. And so um sometimes I take the videos as a challenge, just because, like, I love the numbers. I love to see what works, and I love connecting with people, and I truly do want to help people, and I like the connections that I build. And so with social media, when people comment on it and they're into it, or they've got stuff that they want to say, I like that. It's engaging to me too. I don't know that I get the exact same that I get from my music with it, and sometimes I'm not in the mood to do it at all. But there's some weeks where I just can't get enough social media, and I just want to, but I think that it's important just to always be balanced. And so, my family comes first, and then the music, the business can come next, which is awesome. And it doesn't bring me quite the excitement that the music does, but I really do enjoy it. I really do. So
Yeah, I think that that's fair, and it's always fun when one takes off and something exciting is happening on there and stuff, right? What about
yeah, for
the
sure.
balance of the family stuff? I've also found this an interesting question for entertainers like yourself. Is sometimes what started out as fun and as a passion, when it becomes a job, you're like, oh no, I have to go do this again, or I have to come up with something, and it feels like work. And I've also found where no one thing can kind of fulfill your soul. You need a lot of things. You need family, you need your physical health, you need stuff that you just do
Yeah.
for fun and stuff that you get paid to do, and all kinds of different things. Sometimes you just need a vacation or rest. Um, how would you describe maybe the ideal state or success, and how do you keep track of your energy when you're trying to do big things like this?
Um, so I think that I think it's important to listen to yourself, and just realize that, because I don't know, I'm a competitive person. You may be as well. Like, I think there are a lot of us are, right, and we want to do really well. And sometimes it's okay just to stop and just unplug and just be away. And
Mm.
yeah, your numbers are going to plummet, but it's important for you. Like, you've got to take time for yourself. And I think that's one thing that I've learned is just how important just the whole balance is with all of it, with life, because really we need to be happy. Being happy and the things that bring us the most joy, which is usually, I mean, quite often it's family and spiritual things, or whatever your brings you the most joy, you got to put that first. And then, the other stuff become fun, and they are fun if you're doing them. But if you're not in a good place and you're out of balance anyway, I don't think anything's fun. I just don't.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I'd add two things to it. One is I think I try not to put a lot of pressure on myself. So I record these ahead of time a lot. And so I can take a vacation next week and new episodes will still come out and stuff like
Smart.
that. And you can schedule social
Yeah.
media and you're not like completely on a panic every week to come up with something new or worried about stuff dropping. And the other thing for me is I think you go through phases of burnout and stuff too. And sometimes just keeping going. And so I like the weekly show here because there's weeks where I don't feel like it, and there's weeks where it goes great and
Yeah.
it's a great guest and you have fun and stuff. But just by having that on the schedule every time, by doing something and continuing to do it, good things happen over time. Those views and listens and subscribers add up, but you find and new ways and new tools to make it easier, or you find your happiness and re-engagement by doing it. When you stop and give up, you're not really ever going to magically be like, oh, I missed that, I should go
Yeah,
do it again. So I just add,
definitely.
keep going and keep making stuff to that list.
Yeah, that's really good advice right there. And it is important to be consistent. It definitely is. And just that little consistent effort, whether it's once a week or once a day or whatever you've committed yourself to do, as long as you do that, eventually you will get success, even if your numbers start out really small. You'll get there. Just keep showing up.
You bet. So tell me a little bit about the power of play in your life and what you do just for fun, or how playing music. I love that some of the things that are called play and some of the things called work, right? Like you play music, you play politics, you you're
Yeah.
in a play as an actor and stuff, and other people are working and struggling and trying to grind and hustle. And I feel like that's not as much fun. Well, like you said, you can do a lot of hard work and you can do a lot of hustling. What's the importance for you in doing it with a playful and fun mindset? Because from the name Lady Redneck to some of the funny things you do on social media and stuff, it's clear that you're not taking yourself too seriously throughout
Yeah.
this. Why is
That's
that
true.
important to you?
Um, I, you know, I think that it's just important. If I took myself seriously, I probably wouldn't get anything done, and I'd probably lock up. Honestly, like,
Mm,
it's important to find joy in the journey. And I just think that's finding joy in the daily things. And I think so many people get in places, or maybe, life is a roller coaster anyway. We're all going through trials at different times. We're all going through really happy times. But just to find joy in the journey, try to find the good things of each day. And I think so much of whether it's play or whether it's work is attitude and where you're at. And so if you
mm.
decide that it's going to be a great experience and you're going to have fun doing it, you probably will. So
Yeah, that's really good. And I love what you said about the creative block too, because I think that's what freaks people out is when you put too much pressure on yourself or you make it work or you're too serious about what you're doing, your brain kind of shuts down and it's looking for like survival instincts, not creativity, fun, flow and types of things that you
yeah.
have to do to take risks to make new stuff and to create
And
something from scratch.
exactly, Mike. And one of the things too, literally your creative mind can't create when you're in that state. So it's kind of like a two-edged sword. You have to be in a good, relaxed, non-stressed out situation to even to be creative.
And I guess the last question, and then I want to ask what you have going on now and what's next for you. But last question on this topic is about confidence here, and I feel like putting yourself out there, either on the internet or on stage or recording a song, does take a certain degree of confidence. how have you found that journey within yourself? How do you find your confidence, and does it ever get shaken when a video bombs or something like that?
Oh, yeah, 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 for sure. First of all, how do you find that confidence? I think that, and it's, when you're writing your own music and you're putting yourself out there, you're putting yourself in a very vulnerable situation where, and you're going to get people that love you and people that hate you. It's just part of life. And so I personally try not to read the negative stuff because it does affect me, and I am really tenderhearted and really sensitive that way. And so I just it's funny, I've got to where on one of the platforms, like if there's something negative, I just block.
Yeah.
But usually that took me like up until now from 2016 to do that. Most of the time I just wouldn't finish reading the statement, because I know that there's people, I just know, like with everybody, there's people that are going to love what you do and there's people that aren't going to love it. And you can't make everybody happy, and you can just be the best self that you can be and try to do as much good as you can do. But that's all that you can do. So when my confidence does get shaken, like your question talked about, usually I'll kind of turn inward a little bit, and
Yeah.
you'll probably see it a little bit in my social media because I won't be as present, and I can't help but let it affect me. But then, I read my scriptures, I go running, I do the things that build me up again, and then I'm back up on that horse. So
Yeah, I agree. I find there to not be as many haters as people think. I think when people
yeah,
don't hit publish, that's way more dangerous than putting yourself out there and having somebody not like it.
I
I have
agree.
done several things. Like I've had a stage name too. I was Romeo on the Kansas City radio stations here and stuff. And that alter ego persona
Awesome.
is a good way to separate it and be like, okay, well, they didn't like what Romeo did or what Lady Redneck did,
Yeah,
but that's not me. They don't really know me. They're seeing a portion or a post, and they're not liking that, but they don't know me personally. It helps protect my identity and my self-esteem
I
and
like
stuff is
that.
something I think.
That's really smart.
And I think I enjoy now as I've gotten older, maybe not when I was younger, but it could be the reason why I started doing it is I enjoy putting myself out there in that vulnerable state. I feel like it's healthier and it's more fun, even if I get hurt, to feel those feels than to kind of close myself off, not put myself up there and just, worry and be all in my head. At least it's outside feedback to tell me whether I'm going in
Yeah.
the right direction or not. Most of the time, the people that write things are nice things, or if you're in front of an audience, they're rooting for you. They don't want to sit through a bad concert or boring
It's
speech. Like
true.
they want you to do well. So
I
I
agree
don't
with
find
that.
that.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Mike. I
Go
was
for it.
gonna say, I'd heard about how tough the music business is, and yeah, it is, and like how like people were gonna just cut you down, and I have not found that experience at all, and I didn't actually really have an official, I think, hater until I started doing Christian music, and then it had to do with more with my religion, I think, than my music or what I really did. And so, um, I think that people are just afraid of what they don't know, and you hear that there's haters, you hear about these rough things, but in reality, I agree with you. I think people do want you to succeed, and especially if you're an authentic, person that's genuine, they really do want. They are cheering you on. I think there's a lot of good people out there, so I agree with
Yeah,
what you
I
said.
agree. In general, I think when you're more of yourself, when you're more authentic, you put more of yourself out there, more people respond positively to that. It's when you're trying to
Yeah.
do something fake or that you don't pull off or that you hold yourself back when you start getting negative comments and stuff. But let's switch to some fun stuff and then we'll end with the game and end on a happy note. But what do you have going on next? What's on your fun bucket list? What's going on in your life for the rest of the year? What's happening?
Well, as far as with my music, I've got a new CD coming out, a new album coming out in August. It's my first Christian album, so I'm really excited about that. I had done a four country ones and a Christmas one, but this is my first Christian one, so I'm really excited about that. And then, as far as just in normal life in general, I've got a deep sea fishing trip coming up, which I'm really excited about. And then, family vacation and just life. Just life is great. So towards the end of the year, that's all I can really think of, but all good things.
Yeah, it sounds like you got fun things and big projects on the horizon there. All right. Are you ready to
Yeah.
play a game?
I hope so. I was trying to think of some good things here.
That's funny. All right. Here we go. We'll play the game. And it is two truths and a lie. So I'll start. I'll give you two fun facts about myself and then one that's a lie. You try and guess the lie. My family invented the sandwich. The Montagues were the first ones to put like meat and cheese between bread and invent the sandwich.
I can tell you're good at this game already.
Yeah.
all of the definition and all the information you gave, I'm like, oh, I'm dealing with a pro here.
And I was on a Montague theme today because I've played this so many times. I try to come up with new stuff for the listeners that have listened to them all. But a Montague was George Washington's great grandmother.
Wow.
And finally, back to the sandwich theme. I was a Subway sandwich artist in college.
Wow. Oh my gosh. And I have to pick my nose.
Which one was the lie?
Okay. How about the Subway sandwich one?
That's correct. You're right. Yeah.
Yay.
All right. Well, you won the first round. Let's see how you do. We need two fun
wait,
facts.
there's more than one round.
No, you have to. Your round is yours to me.
No. Okay, great. Okay. Wow. I don't even know how to compete with that. Okay. Whew. All right. Okay. You ready for the two truths and a lie?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So the first one, I ran a marathon. Up in Idaho, there's one that goes down kind of by the Tetons, and it's a great run. It's beautiful, and had a blast with that. I love gymnastics, and I've been a gymnastics coach for several years, and it's something that I really love to do. And I'm also from a very small town, population 23 in Idaho, where there was basically two families that lived there. So which one out of us?
Those are good. So obviously the one not Idaho sticks out as the gymnastics, but I read all of your bio and background, and I think I did see that you like gymnastics. So I'm going to say the Idaho town was not quite that small.
That one was true.
Oh no! You grew up with two families in one city?
Well, till I was 12, it was like it says population 23 on the sign, but if you go out in the valley, there were some other families that lived there, but there was literally like a stoplight and a church and a gas station that was open when it wanted to be.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what was the lie? The marathon? Are you not a runner?
The marathon was a lie. I'm a runner, and so I was hoping it would I'm like, if you read it, because I always talk about running, but I've done half marathons, but for some reason at like mile 15, my knees start hurting, so I've never been able to do a full marathon. It just makes me sad, but anyway, yeah. So
me too. I ran cross country in high school, and I've always been a runner.
Awesome.
But anytime I get over a certain distance, I end up hurting myself, and so 5Ks are all it's meant to be here. So you won both rounds, which means you win a free 30-second commercial here for anything that you want to promote, anything you can do to help us, or anything we can do to help you. Now is the time.
Oh, great. Yeah. So as far as a commercial, I would love it if any of you had would check out my website, ladyredneck.org. I've got some great t-shirts on there, hats, like you can see, CDs, all the fun stuff, and just connect with me on social media, wherever you like to be. I'm probably there, and I try to respond to the comments. I have a lot of fun getting to know people, and everything from TikTok to Facebook to Instagram. And I love asking questions where we can connect and I can learn more about you and stuff. So definitely check out my music, and hopefully we can connect on social media as well.
That would be amazing. Again, it's Lady Redneck, ladyredneck.org, or Stephanie Lee Lowry. If you Google that, you can find all our Facebook, Instagrams, and all of that. A great follow there. And for Playful Humans, if you want to discover more about the power of play in your life and career, you can go to playfulhumans.com. You can subscribe to this podcast anywhere you are listening to it right now would be a good start. And of course, on the YouTube channel, we do these live, so you can participate in the comments and join the discussion as well. If you want to follow Playful Humans on YouTube, that would be awesome. And until next time, whatever you are, be a good one. Bye.
Awesome. Thanks. Bye.
Keep on chasing